Welcome to the deep dive. So today, let's maybe look beyond just the wedding at Cana for a second. We're going to venture into some really foundational moments, exploring those early miracles of Jesus that maybe don't get quite as much airtime, because beyond that, that famous story, there's actually a lot in these early acts that show you the core of his ministry and honestly, the sheer scale of his power.
Absolutely. I mean, Cana is significant, no doubt. But if you look at these initial miracles, collectively, they offer some really crucial insights. They weren't just random events, were they? They feel more like deliberate demonstrations, sort of setting the stage for understanding his work.
Exactly. And that's really our goal today, to dig into the meaning and the lessons, sometimes hidden within these first miracles. We want to see how these events kind of laid the groundwork for understanding Jesus's bigger purpose, and importantly for you listening, what they tell us about our own connection with, well, the divine. We're looking mainly from Cana through to his time in Capernaum.
And as we go through these stories, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why these specific moments? What was it about these situations, these people, that prompted these early displays of power? And maybe what can they tell you about how God interacts with the world, maybe even in your own life?
Okay, right, let's jump in. Starting with, what everyone knows, turning water into wine at that wedding in Cana, John's Gospel, chapter 2.
Mm-hmm. And John puts it very plainly, doesn't he? In John 2:11, he says flat out that through this act, Jesus revealed his glory and his disciples believed in him. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't just about saving the party. It was a big reveal.
Yeah, picture it. A wedding, everyone's having a good time, and then bam, the wine runs out. That's a potentially huge social embarrassment, right? It seems almost, ordinary in a way.
It does, yeah. And maybe that's part of the point. It suggests Jesus' power isn't just for cosmic crises, but for the everyday stuff, too. It wasn't some huge disaster, just a social hiccup, but he still chose to step in miraculously.
And beyond just fixing the immediate problem, transforming water into wine. That feels really symbolic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It speaks to, Jesus bringing abundance where there was lack, joy instead of disappointment, almost like a sign of something new starting. Water for cleaning becomes wine for celebrating.
Precisely. You could see it as a sort of miniature picture of his whole ministry, right? Taking the ordinary, the lacking, and infusing it with something extraordinary, something rich. Spiritual richness where there was emptiness.
So maybe the takeaway here, even from this first one, is that divine care isn't just for the massive life-altering moments. It can touch the seemingly small details, those times we just feel like something's missing.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit. Another really important early miracle, healing the official's son. That's in John chapter 4. And this story is all about a father, clearly desperate, traveling to find Jesus.
Right, this guy travels what sounds like quite a distance. He's worried sick about his child. And when he begs Jesus for help, Jesus doesn't actually go with him. He just says, this is John 4:50, go, your son will live. Just like that.
And the distance is key here, isn't it? Jesus isn't physically there with the boy, yet the healing happens exactly when Jesus speaks. What does that tell us about the reach of his power?
That's a huge point. And the story really hinges on how the official reacts. He just takes Jesus at his word and heads home. He doesn't demand proof or anything. Why do you think he just believed?
That's the core of it, I think. His faith wasn't based on seeing something happen. It was pure trust in Jesus' word, his authority. And of course, the story confirms it. His servants meet him on the way back saying, yep, your son's fine. And it turns out it was at the exact time Jesus spoke.
So what could that mean for you listening? Maybe that belief doesn't always need, physical evidence right in front of you. Sometimes it's about trusting the word, trusting something beyond what you can see right now, taking that leap.
Okay, next up, let's head to the Sea of Galilee. We've got Peter and some other guys, all seasoned fishermen, and they've been out literally all night and caught absolutely nothing. This is from Luke chapter 5.
Oh man, you could just feel the exhaustion, right? And probably pretty discouraged. Fishing's how they make a living, and a whole night's work for zero return. Then Jesus shows up and tells them to throw their nets out again. Which, must have sounded completely pointless if the fish weren't there all night.
Exactly. To these experienced guys, it probably seemed, illogical. Waste of time, maybe. But Luke 5:6 says, when they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. This wasn't just a few more fish, it was overwhelming, ridiculously abundant. What's the significance of that much fish, do you think?
Yeah, the image of the nets actually starting to break is really powerful. And this miracle, it feels like it's about more than just the fish, doesn't it? It's the moment Jesus calls Peter, James, and John. He tells them, from now on, you will fish for people.
Right. It's fascinating how he uses their world, their expertise fishing to explain their new calling. That huge catch wasn't just a gift, it was like a powerful sign of the potential in following him, foreshadowing the kind of catch they'd be involved in later, spiritually speaking.
So, a possible takeaway for you. Maybe it's about obedience, even when things don't make sense according to our own experience or logic. Trusting God's direction, even if it seems counterintuitive, can lead to blessings you just didn't expect. Abundant ones.
All right, finally, let's look at the healing of a leper. This one's in Mark chapter 1, and it's incredibly moving because in that time and place, leprosy wasn't just a skin disease. It meant total social isolation, religious uncleanness.
Yeah, this person was a complete outcast, someone people would literally cross the street to avoid. He comes to Jesus, kneels down, which took immense courage, really, and begs for healing. And Mark 1.41 gives us this amazing insight into Jesus' reaction. Some versions say indignant, others moved with compassion. Either way, his gut reaction is strong.
And then he does something extraordinary. He actually reaches out and touches the man. I mean, that broke every rule, every social taboo about ritual purity. Then he says, I am willing, be clean. That touch, it was almost as radical as the healing itself, wasn't it? What message did that send?
Oh, absolutely. It smashed through social walls, religious barriers. It showed Jesus was willing to connect with the people society threw away, the untouchables. It was such a clear, physical sign of his love and grace reaching out to those who felt completely beyond reach.
So this miracle, it's about way more than just fixing a physical problem. It reveals so much about Jesus' character, his deep compassion for the outcast, his desire to restore dignity, belonging. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that nobody is truly beyond the reach of God's grace, no matter how isolated or, unclean they might feel.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, looking back at these early miracles, you see these themes keep coming up, don't you? There's this deep compassion, incredible power, and always this invitation to believe.
Yeah, they weren't just magic tricks or raw power displays. John calls them signs. They point to something bigger. They reveal Jesus' glory, sure, but also the possibility of real transformation, scarcity to abundance, sickness to health, isolation to community, wholeness.
And maybe that leads us to the final thought for you to ponder. As you think about these stories, the wine, the official son, the fish, the leper, which one maybe speaks most directly to you right now? Which encounter resonates with where you are in your life, and maybe why? What does it spark in you? Because that personal connection, that's where these ancient stories really come alive today.